This video is part of a series for the Sydney Feminists, a group of passionate women and men working towards social change through media education. Hi everybody! So initially I had planned on making this next video about first-wave feminism, but in light of recent events like the gang rape in Brazil, the domestic violence case involving Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and the Change.org petition seeking justice for Lynette Daly, an Indigenous woman who was raped and murdered in New South Wales, I thought it more pertinent to have a discussion on rape and rape culture. I also managed to convince a few of my friends to have this discussion with me.
Hi, my name is Mark.
Hi, my name is Rue.
Hi, my name is Yolanda.
So it turned out to be a sort of rape culture road trip discussion. I asked a series of questions on rape and rape culture, and they gave their honest and unfiltered opinions. While presenting these answers to you, I will be pausing in between to elaborate, add context and understanding, so please bear with me. Who do you believe perpetrates rape more? Strangers or people known to the victim?
I think it's easier for a stranger rather than for someone who actually knows the victim.
Yeah, because for someone that you know, they'll actually think about the relationship that you have and how, like, the consequences of that relationship will be impacted, like, after.
Rape and sexual assault is usually perpetrated by people known to the victim. By some estimates, over 70% of rape victims know their attackers. How do you figure out who will commit a rape and who will not commit a rape?
I think you can never tell. It's like a risk that you can never get rid of. Anyone around you can rape you, like even the one that you most trust.
Rapists are not identifiable. They can be charming and seemingly good people. They can hold steady jobs and contribute to society. So there really is no way to tell what a rapist looks like. Does the onus fall on a on a possible victim, to protect or prevent a situation of rape?
I'm just trying to say that, you know, as long as it's true that it shouldn't be a victim's responsibility to ensure their own, to ensure that they're not raped. Generally rapists are just not supposed to rape. People are just not supposed to rape someone else, but one has to do whatever they have to protect themselves.
I do agree with you, but I also think that it's a question of responsibility.
The onus is never on a victim to prevent a crime from happening to them. You may take precautions to avoid a robbery, but ultimately you are not culpable if you do get robbed. Rape and sexual assault need to be understood on these terms as well. Because if not, you are ultimately holding a person responsible for something that was completely out of their control. Do you think that you have ever met a rapist in your life?
I think I've definitely met one, even though, I could not say he was a rapist because he didn't rape anyone that I know.
Yes, I've come across someone who's been convicted of rape.
Once again, a rapist can look like anyone and be anyone. And considering the prevalence of rape, you most definitely have shook hands, had a conversation, or even lived with someone who has raped or committed a sexual assault. Not only that, but there are most probably rape and sexual assault survivors in your life that you are not aware of.
People get away with crazy things in the judicial system. It's like, all the sentences are not even worth the crime,
As the conversation deepened and we started to discuss more difficult ideas, my friend's demeanor seemed to change. Do you think that sex and rape is the same thing?
Totally not. Totally not.
Mark says no.
No, they're not the same thing.
Okay. Knowing that you've just said no, does it surprise you to know that in a lot of rape cases that are discussed in media or in newspapers, a person's rape is often referred to as sex?
Really?
Yes. It seemed to me that my friends were becoming increasingly uncomfortable with the discussion. 92 to 98% of rape cases are deemed true. So why then do people not want to believe rape victims when most of them are true?
pass on this one. I don't know what to say.
Mark? As we continued to discuss, and as I continued to ask them questions that forced them to think deeper about their understanding of rape, it became evident to me that this was a difficult conversation for them to have. A lot of their previous assumptions or previous thoughts about rape had been challenged by this discussion, and that was difficult for them. We are joined by someone new.
Hi guys, my name is Nicole.
What is consent?
Consent has got a lot to do with agreement, allowing.
If someone is drunk or high enough that the next morning they will not remember what happened.
That's not consent.
As rape and alcohol is such a vast topic, I've included a link in the description box that discusses it in depth rather than discuss it here. If you have previously consented
Yes.
to having sex,
Yes.
but that was a while ago, is it still consensual?
If I say yes, if there is consent an hour ago, and an hour later, if there isn't consent anymore, then there isn't consent anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
Consent given at one time is never consent for any other time. It is always necessary to ask for consent before engaging in any sexual activity. If it's sex with a 15-year-old prostitute.
The fact that she's a prostitute, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Like, so long as she agrees to it. Like, if she doesn't want to do it, or if she's not sure, and considering the age, like, it's not consent.
We actually spent quite a while discussing this, and I want to be clear on two things. Someone engaging with sex as work is not consent, and someone who is under a certain age could never be able to consent. Ever. If they didn't want to, but you managed to talk them into changing their minds.
That's manipulation. So
How?
you're convincing someone to engage in something that they don't initially agree on. So you manipulate their brain to agreeing to it. So I don't think that's total consent, that's full consent.
Coerced sex is not consented. It is rape. If you pressure someone into it, if you threaten them into saying yes, if you manipulate them into agreeing with you, it is rape. This was a very rewarding experience for me, and I've had to leave out a lot of footage due to time concerns. But I encourage anyone and everyone to be having these sorts of conversations with the people in your life. How do you feel about the conversations that we have been having?
I'd actually encourage a lot more people to get involved. It can help get rid of some negative mentalities in societies.
It's just a big eye-opener, I guess, because all these things, most of it could be prevented. Or some of these things, like not all the time, but I think half the time, as long as there's awareness.
It's a good thing that everyone has to be educated and be aware of rape. Everyone should be aware that we're all victims, like it can happen to anyone.
It's one of the topics that people seem to try to brush away because they don't want to talk about it because it makes them feel uncomfortable. But it's something that's going on in society at the moment, and the more people feel free to openly talk about it, the more people become aware of it.
Rape and rape culture are very insidious and prevalent things in our society, and we need to be having these discussions in order to change that. So tell me, what discussions have you been having on rape and rape culture? How have they challenged yours and larger society's views on rape? How did they make you feel? Let me know so that we can continue this difficult but necessary discussion.